and welcome into the newest edition of Caught Stealing, the fantasy baseball podcast here at Fantasy Alarm. I am Colby Conway at Colby R. Conway over on X, and with me, as always, Matt Selz at the Selz Man. Matt, we got a lot of news, notes, and everything in between to break down. But before we do that, how have things been for you?
Not doing too bad. Been kind of a wild few days in baseball. We got a lot of drama between the Nats and the Padres for some reason. I don't know. Could be a trade that went terribly wrong for one of those teams. Had some drama in New York between the Mets and the Yankees a little bit, and the Yankees getting toasted by their crosstown rivals. I saw a clip of a guy getting arrested in the background of one of the pitches last night. Live on television. He's just there in the in the walkway getting arrested. But things are, not too bad. We are in the dog days of summer, officially halfway through the season for most teams. So time to make some moves, folks. We gotta, you're either going up the standings at this point or not making the playoffs. So, now's the time to get things sorted out. I'm talking to you, Chicago, and your bullpen, which is its
Yep.
own patience or panic segment by itself.
It very well could be, and you hit the nail on the head. We're gonna start getting into some trade speculation here. Probably you and I'll start looking at trade candidates probably next month. Hit a couple on each episode as we lead up to the trade deadline. But one of the names that we potentially thought could be moved, in particular, lefty Jesus Luzardo, who was actually featured in last week's Patience or Panic, which then turned out we should have been panicking because apparently
Yeah.
he's got a back issue. He is on the injured list. He's going to miss some time here. If I'm not mistaken, I'll double check this. I didn't write it down. I do believe he was placed on the 60-day IL. So he is out for 2 months effectively. So at this point, the Marlins can't trade him, right? At this
Right.
trade deadline, or what do you think the overall impact is here for Luzardo and really the Marlins?
Well, I guess, are you allowed to trade injured guys? I don't remember, to be honest, on that rule if they can be traded if they're on like the 10-day IL but not the 60-day. I can't remember. Um, to be honest, I know this is terrible radio here. Um, they were certainly looking to. That was a piece they were looking to ship. Right, he
Mhm.
is a big time arm that they could have, gotten some much needed help in that farm system. They have arms coming. They don't have any bats. I'm sorry to tell you, people. It's not getting any better offensively in Miami. So if they can in fact trade him, then I still don't know that it helps because how are you going to trade a guy who's out for 2 months and may help the playoffs this year? I mean, I know he's under team control, but that seems like pretty tough needle to thread in terms of trade value going forward.
I don't think they can move him because I think it's going to be one of those things where a team can try to leverage this if they can trade for him. I wasn't able to find anything concrete, but who's to say that he actually does come back this year?
Right.
Like it's a stress reaction in his back. Like that's
Yeah.
not something, I wouldn't equate this to a pulled hamstring or
No,
like
it's
a
literally a bone's got to heal in the most important line of bones in your entire body.
yeah. And then it will be one of those things where the Marlins are like, oh, it's team control. You got this. And the opposing team's going to be like, he may not help me for this year. So we need to reduce the prospect haul. The Marlins are going to say, absolutely not. Frontline lefty. Can't give pennies on the dollar for him. I just can't see him being moved now.
No, I think he's an off-season move
Yep.
if the Marlins really want to go that way. Um,
Well, look at this year with the Marlins. They said in May that they probably weren't making the playoffs this year. So next year they could do it in April. They could just say by middle of April, yeah, probably just
I
not
mean,
gonna make
what's to
the playoffs
stop
this
them
year.
from announcing it at the winter meetings that they're not making the playoffs?
That's true. It's
I
just
mean,
gonna
their
keep moving
GM
up
is
each year.
terrible. Like,
Now that the
you don't say the
24
quiet parts out loud, man. That's
could you imagine? Now that the 2024 season has ended, we would like to announce that we probably won't make the playoffs in 2025.
we are not
Thank you.
competing for playoffs in 2027.
Exactly. It just keeps
Like,
moving up.
it's yeah. So I don't think he's getting moved. Again, we don't know the clear answer on if you can trade a guy while he's on the IL or not. Not 100% sure on that. And then obviously there's no waiver trade. Like there used to be the non-waiver trade deadline
Mhm.
and then the waiver trade deadline, and now there's no waiver trade deadline. You all have to be done by, the cutoff, which I think is what, the beginning of August
Mhm.
this year is what the commissioner has set it to. Um, so it's a blow to Miami. No help is coming there, except by the time he's back, the Dolphins will be on the field. So then y'all can start watching those games, I guess.
True. True indeed. San Diego might have been a player at the deadline. Who would have known really? But now we have Fernando Tatis Jr. hitting the IL. Probably not going to be back till after the All-Star break, they're saying. And he's been banged up. Apparently he's been playing through a quad issue. Then he got hit by a pitch, I believe. And now he finds his way onto the injured list. So expecting him to miss a little bit of time here. If they can weather the storm without him, what do you think the outlook for the Padres is at the deadline?
I still think they make a move because AJ Preller's never met a trade he doesn't want to try to make. He's like the next generation of Jerry DePoto over here.
Mm-hmm.
They do have a farm system that can go get guys. I know they keep dealing out of them, but they keep drafting well enough to, have and signing international players. Like they signed Leo DeVries. He's already a top 50 player. He just got stateside,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, Jackson Merrill, the guy they drafted after the disastrous Juan Soto trade, that guy's turned out okay, right? Um, I think they make a move. I don't know what the trick becomes. If they make a move, who are they get? Are they getting pitching help?
Right.
Because they probably need an arm or two.
It'd be great if they could just get a couple of them healthy, but that's been the issue with Darvish and
Right.
Musgrove in particular.
Right. Um, so I don't know. Do you go double dip in Chicago and go get Gerrit Crochet now after getting Dylan Cease from them earlier in the year? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know that they need a bat because, quite frankly, I don't know where they're going to play a bat at this point. Like, even if Tatis, like, he should be back before the trade deadline,
Sure.
right? But even if he's not, what spot? You're not going to go trade for an outfielder and then say, okay, what do we do with Tatis and put him at DH because that takes another bat out of the, So
Mhm.
I would say that they go for an arm. If they do anything, they may just hope that this gelling that's happening and the celebrating homers in June in the second inning of games in June carries them to the playoffs. I don't know, but I would suspect that they would be in on a lot of deals before
Yeah.
the deadline.
Like you said, Preller's never met a deal that he hasn't liked. One quick, we'll talk about this in the coming weeks, obviously, but right now, no analysis, yes or no. Are Garrett Crochet and Luis Robert a package deal at the deadline? Do you think they go somewhere together? Yes or no?
I think so.
Okay.
I think it's the Dodgers.
I'm going to ask you each week, and we'll just see how things
I
change for
think
you.
I think it's the Dodgers.
Hey, fair enough.
Let me put it this way: the Dodgers could give up their top 5 prospects to get that package and still have the
It's an
top 2
embarrassment
farm
of riches.
system, a top 2, if not the best farm system in baseball.
Fair enough. So, if you are not a member of the family, become an all pro subscriber today. Join the family, get access into the Discord. We can answer questions, lineup questions, trade questions, anything like that. And Matt, we just so happened to get not one, not two, but 3 trade questions that came in. So, just wanted to kind of discuss these just a little bit and see kind of what we're thinking here. So, one
By
of
the
the
way, real
first,
quick, it just occurred to me that we're wearing kind of similar shades of the same color without planning.
I thought about when you were talking about the
There's a
package.
lot of purple on this
Yeah.
pod
Yeah,
this week
there
if
sure
you
is.
watch it.
Pro purple on the pod today. But first trade here. Garrett Crochet for Riley Green.
I think that's pretty fair. I mean, right? You're getting an upside starter who hasn't proven a lot, and an upside outfielder who is still, he's not at the top of his game yet, right? I think he's shown flashes of it, but I don't think the entire package has arrived. Garrett Crochet, you can make that argument, but there's still questions about just how long is he going to last? Is he being shut down this year? We talked about that last week, right? Where he's already topped his pro his entirety the entirety of his pro career. He's already surpassed the innings that he's pitched there this year. So
Mhm.
I think that's a fair. I think that's a fair deal for both sides.
I like what Riley Green is doing a lot. Still not hitting lefties. That is what it is, but he's hitting righties well. I just Garrett Crochet as a player, you have to be a week early on in dealing him. You cannot be a week late. Once
Correct.
the news comes out, if he gets traded or something and it comes out, hey, like if he gets traded to the Dodgers don't give a you know what about August, September. They know where they're going in October. The
The Dodgers
plan is to
also spent
preserve their,
$1 billion this offseason.
well,
By the way,
exactly.
700 million of it was saved by a ball boy. Did you see that catch?
I did. That was nice.
You got to go to Twitter or X or whatever. Go see the highlights. There's a Dodger ball boy who just barehand caught a ball like a Yu-Gi-Oh, like
It was pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie.
right in
It
front of
was
Shohei's face, and I think Shohei's new translator was was quite surprised.
it was pretty nice. So ultimately, you can't be late in dealing Crochet because once it comes
Right.
out that starts are getting skipped, his value tanks. You have to do it now and basically make the deal and then hope that the news comes out soon. Because like I said, if he goes to the Dodgers, their plan is to preserve their best arms for October.
They
They'll
may go
go
with a
6-man
7-man rotation.
or 7 or 8-man. Who knows what they could go 9. Who cares? They have enough
I
there.
mean, they
So
have depth. They could just call up Michael Grove. They could call up
right.
Gavin
So
Stone when he's healthy, like all this stuff.
I would probably make that deal. I would probably trade. I'd be comfortable trading Crochet for Riley Green. He's giving you a little bit across the board, good power numbers this year too for him. Second trade that actually came up is from the same person, and this one is they went pitcher for outfielder. Now it's giving up an outfielder for a pitcher, so you could almost look at this in tandem. But this one is they're giving up Corbin Carroll and getting George Kirby. So effectively, it's Garrett Crochet and Corbin Carroll for Riley Green and George Kirby.
I think for a redraft, I think that's fine.
Mhm.
I think you're getting the better end of it with George Kirby, given Carroll struggles. Now he does seem to be coming out of it, but in a keeper or a dynasty, I'd probably want to keep Carroll
Yeah.
over Kirby.
If we're playing for this year, especially if
It's
we're playing
Kirby
for this year, I'm trading Crochet high and getting Riley Green. I'll dump Corbin Carroll and get,
and get George Kirby.
honestly, getting George Kirby in that deal is pretty good because Kirby's starting to, I mean, over his last 15 starts, he's got a sub-3 ERA, nearly striking out a batter an inning with a sub-1 whip.
Yeah, he's starting to warm up. Carroll's starting to warm up, but Kirby didn't have that far to warm up from. Carroll has a lot to warm up from to get to where we expected him to go. So I would, but in a dynasty format, I'm keeping Carroll because
Yeah.
I'm still going to keep a bat over an arm in a dynasty format.
Yep, I do believe this is redraft. So I'm trading Crochet for Riley Green. I'll trade Corbin Carroll for George Kirby, and then Bo Bichette and Grayson Rodriguez for Trey Turner.
Probably. I mean, Bichette's injured now, so
this is also from the same person. So basically, what's happening is
theoretically, if you do all three of these trades, you're getting
Riley Green, George Kirby, and Trey Turner. You're losing Crochet, Carroll, Bichette, and Gray Rod.
I would probably make all of those trades.
I think I would too.
Because you're getting Riley Green to replace Corbin Carroll, so you're getting a more solid performer so far to replace a guy who's been a dumpster fire to begin with. Garrett Crochet for George Kirby is fairly even, I would say, right?
Mhm.
You're losing out Gray Rod, but you're turning Bo Bichette, who's been an absolute dumpster fire, into Trey Turner, who's not been a dumpster fire. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think on the whole, you're probably getting more value out of those trades than you're giving up right now.
I think so. And I think in full
losing
picture,
Gray Rod hurts, but he's still kind of sorting things out at the pro level, at the major league level.
yeah. And I mean, maybe at their peaks, Gray Rod's better than George Kirby, but I think run of the mill consistency wise, I think Kirby just might, at least at this point in Gray Rod's career, I take Kirby's consistency
Also,
at the
George
moment.
Kirby doesn't walk anybody.
Well, that's how he has that sub-1 whip and isn't really in danger of losing it.
To walking people.
That he is. So I think you can make all those moves in a vacuum. I think the two I definitely would do: Crochet for Riley Green, Corbin Carroll for George Kirby. The Bichette and Gray Rod for Trey Turner, I think a little bit more on, but I still think I think
I think I'd
inevitably I pulled the
probably still
trigger.
take it.
Yeah, I think so
Yeah.
too.
Yep.
So that's that. So if you have questions like that you want us to opine on here on the podcast, join the family, get in the Discord, and tag us, and we will talk about them live on the pod. But for a Friday or a Thursday staple, excuse me, a little patience or panic. We're going to go to the Bronx with the ace right-hander Gerrit Cole, who's made his return. He's now made 2 starts for the team. Fine against Baltimore, did serve up not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 home runs to the Mets. And there were a couple fastballs that were not at his usual velocity, down a little bit, but overall on average, the velo seemed relatively okay. Are you panicking at all with Gerrit Cole? Like his arm, any concerns with it or anything along those lines?
No, I mean it was a rough week a little bit for Yankees pitching because Luis Heel got absolutely lit up as well. And then, but like, no matter who was on the mound for the Yankees against the Mets, they got lit up. So I just think the Mets used the grimmest power and went bonkers. Um, I'm not. Look, if we're like 4 starts from now and Gerrit Cole's still doing this, then yes, then there's going to be a lot more panic.
Yep.
But he's 2 starts into his return. There's going to be some bumps in the road. He didn't get all of April to iron these things out. He's going to iron them out in late June. The Yankees are fine. Like they could play 500 baseball from here on out and still win 95 games. So they're in a little bit of a dogfight with Baltimore for the division. We kind of knew that was going to happen, but I'm not that concerned with Gerrit Cole.
St. Louis infielder Nolan Gorman, one of my favorite guys, 16 homers and 6 stolen bases on the year through how many games is that? About 73 games for him, but we're below the Mendoza line at 272 OBP and a 682 OPS that's driven there by a 410 slug. Honestly, with Gorman, this has kind of been what he's been. There's a lot of swing and miss, and when he's hot, and the power is nice. But over his last 111 at bats, 45 strikeouts and a 230 OBP. If you want to shrink it down over his last 54 at bats, he has a 50% strikeout rate. 27 strikeouts in his last 54 at bats, 11 strikeouts in his last 22. He's literally striking out every other at bat.
Yeah.
He struck out at least once in 15 of his last 16 games.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, looking at his career strikeout totals, he's at 104 this year in 73 games. He was at 148 last year in 119 games, and the year before that, he was at 103 in 89. So he's already surpassed his rookie campaign in terms of total strikeouts, and he's done it in 16 fewer games, which is not usually a benchmark you want to hit. His ISO of 219 is impressive, but it's generally also not great when your ISO is higher than your batting average.
True.
And expected batting average, to be honest, because his expected batting average is 210. My only question with Nolan Gorman is why haven't they sent him down yet? Because they sent down Jordan Walker for seemingly hitting baseballs hard, but then missing a bunch, right? They sent down Victor Scott because he wasn't getting on base enough to steal bases. Why is Nolan Gorman the lone exception to this? I mean, they have guys that can play middle infield. So, yeah, there's a lot of panic here because I know when he came up, he's, hit 236 last year. We all kind of said, oh, hey, he's kind of starting to figure it out. He had a 296 BABIP. His expected batting average last year was basically what his average was. But now he seems to have just cratered and he's just going straight for power, and it's not working. So the counting stats are okay, but you cannot play. Like, there's no way you can play Nolan Gorman in a lineup right now.
Yeah, I think you almost
Not
have to
even
drop
in
and wait for the hot
1v2.
streak. That's what you have to do. You got to just drop him, wait for the hot streak. It is crazy through his 3 big league seasons here. His 162 game average is 32 homers, 84 RBIs, and 8 stolen bases, which is quite
Impressive.
serviceable. But then you have the 221 batting average, 305 OBP.
Yeah.
There's too many holes in his bat. That's what it comes down to. When he's hot, man, is he fun to roster, though. He is so much fun, especially when there's a string of righties. coming up in like opposing starts, but boy, when he's down bad, he's down bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not pretty right now. So I would
Like over his last 15 games, he has he has the same number of stolen bases as he does hits, which is great for the
that's
speed, but he has 4
that's
hits in his
reasonably
last
impressive
54. Yeah.
if you think about it, that's reasonably impressive.
He has as many RBI as hits. He has a 133 OBP with a 50% strikeout rate over the last 2 weeks. I mean, I don't even
That's
know what you say. Like, you have to drop him, and then if he gets hot again, pick him back up, but you can't play him right now. It's just
yeah, I mean in dynasty leagues I'm holding him.
for sure.
In keepers I'm probably holding him depending on what he would cost next year. In either, you know, auction budget or draft pick or whatever. Um, but in redraft leagues, I'm probably fine dropping them.
I think so as well. If there's any players you have questions on, again, join the family today, all pro subscription, get in the Discord and get access to us there. But Matt, as we wrap it up and put a bow on this week's episode, of course, waiver wire pickups and weekend streamers to get your team right throughout the last couple of days of this scoring period if you play in a weekly league. So it's always fun with waiver wires and streamers for us here at this point of the season. So, Matt, I'll let you go first with a waiver wire pickup if you need some pitching help.
Yeah, we're bottom of the barrel time here, folks. We may need a shower after I recommend who I'm recommending. There's a reason for it though. Patrick Corbin, the long forgotten rotation piece of the Nationals, who's been trash for a while now, but thanks for the 2019 World Series ring. I appreciate it. That being said, in 5 of his last 6 starts, he's put together a 3.07 ERA. He's given up more than 3 earned runs only 3 times in his last 12 starts. The ERA is still high. I got it. It's still over 5. Not great. The strikeouts are coming. He went 7 strong against the Padres the other night. Looked pretty good. Didn't give up very many hits. He's starting to come around. I don't know how long it's going to last, to be honest, but we're going to ride the hot streak while we can ride the hot streak. And that hot streak's been pretty good right now. Like I said, about the last month and a half, he's put up a 3.07 ERA. So, you know, not the best guy I've ever recommended, but right now he's hot and we probably need some pitching help. He's only rostered in like 21% of Fantrax leagues. So if you really are desperate for pitching help, we can look to Patrick Corbin of the Washington Nationals.
We've poo-pooed a lot on Toronto and what they've seemingly done to players, but albeit Spencer Horwitz not having great prospect pedigree, he's performed quite well thus far in the big leagues, and he's shown great plate discipline thus far. Again, it's very early into his big league career, but through 15 games, he does have 11 walks to 6 strikeouts, OBP of 492 for the year, actually 571 over his last 7 games. I don't know how much there is for him in some of the other categories. Like, he's not really a threat on the bases. Power is maybe middling at best, low to mid teens, maybe at the height of his career, just based on what I'm seeing in the minors. Career best is 12 homers in a season in the minors. But he's putting the bat to the ball. Toronto has no choice but to play him, and he now has first and second base eligibility, which is kind of a nice little wrinkle that you can take a look at there. So I'm going to take a look at Horwitz of the Toronto Blue Jays. And then, Matt, we came together for a streamer this week. He just got shelled against Detroit. But prior to that, the going was good. And that's with Jonathan Cannon. He's available in 32% of Fantrax leagues and probably in every single ESPN league, just knowing how things are over there. But over the last 2 weeks, the Rockies have the second highest strikeout rate. Again, over the last 2 weeks. And on the road this year, we all know the Rockies away from Coors, bottom bottom 5 in WRC plus, WOBA, OBP, and slug on the road this year. And don't look now, but Cannon's got a 2.08 ERA and 4 home appearances this year. Anything to add on Cannon?
No, I like him. He's more than a streaming option for me. I just didn't want to double dip there. I would, if he's available, I would pick him up. I feel better about Jonathan Cannon than I do about Patrick Corbin, but I didn't
As
want
you
to double
should.
dip. Corbin, yeah, not great. I know.
Hey, he's pitching well though. We can't deny the numbers. He is pitching well.
Well. The team is fighting for a wild card spot.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow. Not sure how. Not 100% sure how that's happening, to be perfectly honest. I've watched almost every one of their games this year. But yeah, Jonathan Cannon, nice little play. And he'll move up the pitching rotation if Gerrit Crochet is sent out of town. So
certainly will indeed. So if you need some pitching help, Patrick Corbin and Jonathan Cannon, take a look at Spencer Horwitz for first, second base, corner, middle, infield help there, especially if your league values on base percentage, especially there. Panic on Nolan Gorman. He can be dropped in most formats other than Dynasty. Gerrit Cole, let's hold for now. And then again, join the family today, become an All-Pro subscriber, get access to all the great content and into the Discord. Like and subscribe all of the great content at Fantasy Alarm. You can do that over on YouTube for our channel there. So make sure you like and subscribe. And last but not least, give Matt Selz a follow over on X at the Selzman. You can find me at Colby R. Conway, and we will see you next week with the newest edition of Caught Stealing.